What's going on, YouTube? Mr. Almighty is here, and we are back, baby. I know I've been gone for a minute, man, but man, this season has went super horrible. It didn't go nowhere near the way I wanted it to go. But yeah, we at the end of the season presser with Mr. Arthur Blank. We're gonna react to it. This is live, and yeah, we're gonna dive into it. And I'm gonna stop and pause it every time he say something or we get into some that I want to talk about. We're gonna stop and pause it. But yeah, man, we're gonna get into. I'm gonna talk about it more as this is going on.
Again, that we will announce completed interviews once completed. We will not be announcing scheduled interviews. So once we've completed an interview for all three searches, we will announce those, and we will have press conferences with all of the selected leaders that will be joining our organization. So we're going to start now. Just an important note.
Find it back real quick.
And we will have press conferences with all of the selected reporting out there about the candidates and other things.
Yeah.
Just want to confirm again that we will announce completed interviews once completed. We will not be announcing scheduled interviews. So
basically, they not letting everybody, which is cool. That I like that idea approach. They're not letting people know who they're looking at, who they're going to pick. So basically, these people, everybody who has came out is basically speculation. They playing it close to the vest, which I like.
Today, Arthur has a full schedule of meetings and interviews today and tomorrow. So we're going to go for about 20-25 minutes, and we'll wrap up. We're going to go ahead and start with Mark Ramondi and Joe Patrick. We'll go from there.
Wherever you are. Okay. Hey,
the team finished on a 4-game winning streak, and there was some speculation that that might be enough to I guess, keep the status quo. Why did that not end up being the case?
You evaluate a team throughout the entire season, and I'm
going to say something after he answers, too. I ain't going to say nothing.
And, it was my conclusion as the season went on that we could not achieve or not achieving at the level that I thought this roster was capable of performing at. It wasn't for lack of trying, it wasn't for lack of effort, it wasn't for lack of commitment. I have great respect and affection both for Raheem, who I've known for 11 years, and Terry for 5 years. The fact that the team won the last 4 games, I think, is a credit to the players, a credit to the coach and coaching staff. But at the end of the day, I didn't think we achieved the level that we're capable of. And I think that it's an expression that I often use, that good is the enemy of great. And I think we're capable of getting to another level. So that was the reason we made the decision.
So basically right there, in his own words, to say it, few short of none, bruh, y'all didn't know what y'all was doing. Like, he felt like with the roster that we had, we should have been a playoff team in the playoffs. There was no way in hell that we should not have been in the playoffs this year. That's basically what he's saying. Not only that, you see how he said something about the last 4 games. He credited that to the players first, and then he tried to soften it up with saying, oh, and coaching. No, he knew what was going on, and he knew that, Raheem Morris and everything, they wanted the best, but they didn't know how to get the best. And he was just like, you know what? You already done had 2 seasons of doing this. I'm good, which I'm glad he did, man. But that's basically what that was. It seemed in a little sense, it seemed like he wanted to say it was performance based. You know what I'm saying? But hey, man, it was performance based, bro. Y'all didn't perform. Y'all didn't perform. More so you, Raheem Morris. You didn't perform at the level that you were supposed to, and at the level that you came in saying that you could. Really, you put all this on yourself, really, when you came in and said, oh, we're going to outrun the South. You didn't outrun the South because you didn't win the division. For one, you can't outrun the South and not win the division. Then you come, and then not only that, you had a month of losing in that first season. Then you come back and do the exact same thing. Not only that, you get your first round asset quarterback hurt in the process. Yeah, it's time to go, buddy.
Joe?
It was not a light switch went on and off. It was kind of a phased process over time. An awful lot of.
Something actually, and I want to just speak on it. It was like not a light switch. So that means right there and wholeheartedly and honestly, hopefully y'all can hear me right. I don't want to have to yell, but what he just said right there, that means he's already been thinking about that, because you're not firing somebody right at like some hours after the game if you haven't not already thought about it and had an idea of, I know I can go get better than this. And when he just said, confirm that light switch, it's not a light switch. We didn't just boom, on and off, like, okay, yeah, we're just gonna fire him, boom, boom, boom. And they took their time and everything. They've been thinking about this They probably thought to start thinking about this the moment we got eliminated from playoff contentions already. That's probably when he started already thinking about it. And by the time we got to the end of the season, and then we did go on that little 4-game win streak, which probably made the whole situation worse, because it's like, damn, why did you start winning now? Like, you make this firing easy for me. You started winning 4 games that mean nothing. Like, no matter, they actually, let's go back. No, those games actually meant something. They didn't mean nothing for you. Your last game had Panthers and Bucks fans at your stadium cheering, hoping you lose, and then one is cheering, hoping you win. Because either way, it's resulting in something for another team. And that right there is a super fireable offense. How are you having the enemy, your in division rivalries, enemies at your stadium cheering? One is cheering you on because it's helping them get to the playoffs. The other is booing you and hoping you lose. But they in your stadium though. You're playing a game that doesn't mean anything for you, but it means so much more to other teams, to another team. Bro, that's fireable. Get up out of here. So I guarantee you, by the time we got eliminated, from that time we was eliminated all the way into the end of the season, Mr. Blank has been thinking about firing boy. So, yeah.
Factors that go into it.
Arthur over here. Joe Patrick, 92.9 The Game. I'll just ask simply, what went into ultimately the decision to let go of Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris, both individually?
I'd give, it's just a similar answer. I just concluded that I didn't think that those 2 gentlemen, as fine of people as they are, as much as I care about them personally and their families, et cetera, that they were providing the kind of leadership at the level to get us to the next level. And I felt that given the quality of the young players we have on offense and on defense, and some seasoned veterans that are excellent as well, that we needed to move forward, both in terms of a change as a head coach and a general manager. Very tough to.
I'm gonna say this, as far as I know, I said I was gonna wait till he finished his answer, but I gotta say stuff like when it pops in. That's one thing I do have to do, or otherwise I'm gonna forget it. I'm gonna say this for Terry Fontenot. Terry just kind of fell victim to not having the right coaching in here. If we had the right coaches, and say this year, both of these years with Raheem Morris, if Raheem Morris would have did right and handled his coaching and been on top of his game, and we made the playoffs and stuff, Terry would still be around. I think not being able to hire, because he didn't hire both of these guys, neither Arthur Smith, because Arthur Smith was hired before Terry Fontenot was hired. And then not only that, Raheem Morris, Falcons fans know that was a Rich McKay pull the wool over your eyes last ditch move before I think Rich McKay knew he was about to get up out of the get up out the paint too with his frolicky behavior. Hopefully somebody asked him during this interview. Hopefully somebody asked him about Rich McKay getting replaced and demoted, or however you want to put it. But yeah, I just feel like it's kind of unfortunate for Terry, because he has put together a good roster. He has, you know what I'm saying? constructed some good deals. But that quarterback situation, both two regimes, we didn't have two regimes in here back to back, has fumbled the quarterback situation. Arthur Smith with the Marcus Mariota, Desmond Ridder, Taylor Heineke thing with those three guys. And then you had now Raheem Morris, Kirk Cousins, and Michael Penix. You know what I'm saying? Which is still, which this situation, both situations had their palettes. This situation was worse with Raheem Morris because you paid him hella money. You didn't pay him like those other quarterbacks, but you still paid him too much for his age, and then he just came off a major injury, and he's on a decline. So with that being said, man, it's just everything just so happened for Terry. Terry wanted better, and he had better, and he planned better, but just stuff just kept blowing up in his face. Like when you ain't got the right the right coach with you as a GM during your GM tenure, bro, those coaches can make stuff blow up in your face and mess you up very bad. And I honestly feel like Arthur Smith and Raheem Morris is the reason Terry Fontenot really kind of lost his job. Those two coaches he didn't pick, so they did wrong, and he's just kind of paying the price. So casualty of war, somewhat.
Decision. It's a performance-driven league. All sports are.
Hey, you just heard me say that not too long ago, right? I just said that not too long ago, right? It's a performance-based thing. He wanted to say, he's been wanting to say that. It is funny that he said that. I just said that just not too long ago. He probably want to say it's a performance-based thing. Come on, man.
And certainly the NFL is no different than that. And so they understand that, and certainly I represent the fans. I've said this many times. I view myself as a custodian of the franchise for the fans. As they felt pain and anguish and frustration during the year, I felt pain and frustration and anger during the year myself. So it was a very thoughtful, balanced decision that took time to reach, but I think it was the right decision for us. And you know, fundamentally, we wanted to add somebody who's a president of football. And it was kind of clear on the titles, not football operations, it's president of football, because sometimes people could interpret that as being, well, they're responsible for the operations stuff, the backroom stuff, administrative stuff, but this person that we're trying to hire will be responsible for everything that relates to a football and grass. And so both general manager and head coach will report directly to that person, who will report to me.
So basically right there. Now, the rumors with Matt Ryan, that's where I think Matt Ryan is going to be. He's going to get that position. So that way, with Arthur Blank, pretty much, with that, I feel, let me calm down. I'm stuttering and stuff. I'm getting a little excited and everything. But you know, so I ain't made a video for y'all in a long time, so I'm trying to get something out, and I want this to, be there. That's where I feel like the interview with Matt Ryan is, in him coming in. That's where he is going to end up being, and that right there, perfect. And I think every organization needs something like that. Somebody who can connect the dots between what's on the field and, you know, to the owner. Hey, this is going on the field, man. This don't need to be happening. We really need these type of, this is not working. This is you know what I'm saying? Arthur Blank, basically, with that being said, Arthur Blank really is now, I think, I'm gonna ask this question, and I want y'all guys to answer it for me in the comment section. Do y'all feel like Arthur Blank at the time when he bought the Falcons? Now, I might have not have been born, or I might have not even, I probably wasn't born. Let's just leave it at that. We ain't gonna get into all that. Do you think he bought the Falcons for a money scheme, or did you think he bought a team to have a championship and admirations of getting a championship with a team and different things like that. Because certain people buy these teams and or inherit these teams with the passion to try to get championships and stuff like that. We don't know if Arthur Blank looked at it as a money grab and stuff, but to finish what I'm saying is, do you feel like now Arthur Blank finally feels like, okay, you know what? Let me stop trying to make a money grab. Let me stop trying to make the Falcons a cash cow and let me actually make them a winner now. So that is the question to you. Do you feel like he's finally stopped thinking about making money off the team and finally making the team a championship? Because when you do stuff like this, what he just did, you know what I'm saying? It sets a tone and a message throughout the league that, man, I'm done being mediocre. I'm done getting the short end of the stick. And I know I've put too much time and effort and money into this to be getting that. Now, I didn't make my money back probably, but now it's like, you know what? I need some other stuff with this now. And it's like now, you know what I'm saying? Because you see, I think he got the Atlanta United pin on right there, right under the Falcons. And that Atlanta United has got him a championship. But guess what? He still put the Falcons over them. So he now, like, I think his want to win a championship as a owner is starting to really show now. I think now we will start to see the owner who wants a championship and not looking for positions of power or money or more money. You know what I'm saying? Because you're creating a new let me not say he's creating a new position, but you're putting a new position in your front office to help with making sure what's on the field and what's supposed to be going on the field is actually what's supposed to be going on. And not only that, he's there to help you be your eyes and being like, okay, now I'm the owner. I don't know. I might not know much about football like this. I might not never played and everything like this, but I know this ain't supposed to look like what it is. And now that you have a guy that you can actually trust his judgment and his call, and you ain't got Rich McKay out in there no more, hey man, that makes it that much better. So I can't wait till we get our new GM, our new head coach, and our new football operations guy.
Look, the time is here. It's 2026, and everybody talks about having a new year and a new life.
So I'm going to ask, John Harbaugh is available. Can you evaluate him as a potential candidate?
Well, I mean, John has been one of the most successful
Dang, I got to back
coaches
it up a little bit.
for everything that relates to a football and grass. And so both general manager and head coach will report directly to that person who will report to me.
Ken?
I guess I'll come and ask, John
Thank you.
Harbaugh is available. Can you evaluate him as a potential candidate?
Well, I mean, John has been one of the most successful coaches in the last 20 years in our league, has won at every level, and so he would certainly be a candidate we would want to spend some time with. Whether or not he would have an interest in Atlanta, I don't know. I read earlier today he's not taking any interviews this week, and probably will start this coming week, so I'm sure we'll have him on our cycle, assuming he's willing to take an interview with us.
Let's go to home.
Hey, I like that. I like that he even noticed, like, yeah, hey, nah, don't think I ain't noticed Brad and got fired. Yeah, Skip, we gonna put him on here. We got y'all. We know what y'all want. I'm glad somebody even asked that, though, because some people wouldn't even said nothing. He said, hey, man, John Harbaugh, bro, I need to know. We need to know if you serious, bro, because if you ain't serious about not, getting a coach, it's gonna be some Rudy poo. Nah, it ain't like that. Mr. Blank said, nah, it's time to get a championship.
Town, and then we'll go over here, and then back to Charles Odom.
How you doing, Arthur? Good morning. Question, two-parter for you and for the process with the search firms. What guardrails do you think are in place this time to ensure that the final decision is a better one than the last two? And are you going to do anything differently? And will the search firms do anything differently in their approach to getting to the final decisions?
Well, I think I'd give you several parts to respond to that. One, as we all go through life, we all have life experiences, and hopefully you grow through them, you learn from them, and then when you have the same opportunity to make another decision, you make it a little bit differently if it was a mistake previously. So I think we've learned, you know, this last sequence, some things we'd probably do a little bit differently in terms of points of emphasis. Both of these firms, Sportsology, we retained several months ago to do a deep dive on the health, if you will, of the football operations side of our business. They've got great experience in a multiple of sports in that regard, including the NFL. They pointed out some things to us, so they'll help with the search particularly in terms of the general manager search. And ZRG is one of the leading search firms in the world of sports and NFL and football. So we'll be using their talents as well to help screen and filter and ask the right kinds of questions. Our search committee will be structured a little bit differently than it has been in the past. Still be made up of a component of people that represent our leadership and all areas of our businesses, but we're going to put heavy emphasis. We're hiring this president of football first. That's the goals, and over the next couple of days, we have a series of interviews set up. We want to get that person in their seat and have them lead the interviews for the head coach and general manager position going forward.
So basically what that means is I didn't the changes I've made. You see Rich McKay ain't got his monkey ass right next to me, right? Yeah, that's the changes. I just gave you this long fancy answer so you wouldn't, we could keep the drama. But the change is I ain't got Rich McKay next to me in my ear telling me, oh no, let's go this route. Let's do this. La da 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 da. Nah, I ain't got him. I ain't got him here. That is the difference this time around. And yeah, I've learned from my mistakes, you know what I'm saying? Not to listen to this dumbass dude. That's basically what that means.
Does that answer your question? What will I do? What will I be doing? I'll be doing the same thing that I'll always be doing, which is being available, providing, not only the financial resources, which is the easiest part of my job, but make sure the culture is maintained, sharing any wisdom, making sure people working cohesively together with the same goals in mind, and doing whatever I can do to support. That's my job, is really to support. I'm a servant leader. If you look at, an inverted triangle, which we talk about in our business all the time, the guy that's way at the bottom is me. I'm there as a support system for all of our businesses, and certainly football is no different than that.
Back here, and then to Charles, and then
Arthur, right
Black.
here.
Yes, sir.
Gary Chapman on SI. What role I guess first off, what went into the decision to draft Michael Penix and also sign Kirk Cousins? Who made that decision? And then what role do you feel like this had in the process that you made to part ways with general manager and head coach?
Well, I think, we've talked about this a good bit in the past, but just a quick summary. I think, when Kirk became available, I think the football folks on, the coaching side and personnel side both felt this was a athlete to perform at the highest level for 14 years in our league, coming off of an injury. Our medical staff felt the injury was at a point where he could play and play effectively.
Which, I'm going to say this. Kirk did play, and he did play effectively, but it didn't last. And then when you think about it, was he really that effective when you take certain things away, when you had to ask him to do certain stuff? I don't know. It's there, here and there. I feel like that was the rest of this answer he's giving is just somewhat a cover-up answer to be like, you know what? Matter of fact, let me just see, because I might be overreacting. Let me just see what the rest of this answer is, because we kind of heard this, but I feel like the reporter asked this because now that you fired him, and he might be thinking about that video that popped up about when Harry Fontenot and Mr. Blank was sitting there talking in the war room during the draft before that pick, and he was taught. They was like, you know what I'm saying? Some people might be replaying that video in their minds, or probably then went and looked at that video and be like, So I wonder, did this become any did this add did this add into the decision to get rid of him? Which most likely it did.
We stepped up, and because we want to win, we felt that was the right decision at that time. We drafted Michael because at that time we felt and still do feel that Michael was one of the most talented quarterbacks in the draft, and that thinking about the future and not going through a lull, we didn't have a franchise quarterback in place, which is a version of, I don't know what the right word would be, but it's a very difficult position to be in the NFL. It's hard to win in the NFL without franchise.
Purgatory, quarterback purgatory. You know what I'm saying? And I've only heard that term by the six man in my Atlanta Falcon Nation's brethren. So, quarterback purgatory is what he's referring to. Hopefully y'all can hear me, like, because I ain't got the mic all the way up and I'm trying not to yell. But yeah, man, Arthur Blank realized that, man, not having a plan in place for Matt Ryan is what really ultimately led him to these last, Arthur Smith got 3 years, these last 4 to 5 years. Not having these last 4 or 5 years with this horrible quarterback play, and man, almost, I want to say 45% of the reason why the team was doing bad is because of the quarterback play. Shoot, hey, Arthur Blank trying to get that together. And now that's another reason probably why I think he's trying to put Matt Ryan in that position of football operations, so he knows, so Matt Ryan can make sure that wherever on now with that quarterback situation, they always got a good contingency plan. They always, and Matt Ryan knows in the ins and outs and how to, you know what I'm saying? And not only that, Matt Ryan can get hands on, because he said verbatim out of his mouth, we're watching it come out of his mouth, that the football operator that they're talking about hiring will have everything to do with blades of grass and the football. And those two people, GM and the head coach, will report to him, and he to Arthur Blank. That means he ain't worried about the office stuff. He's worried about what's on the field and what players and everything. The personnel, he's making sure play calls, different stuff like that. That's why you also would put a Matt Ryan in there too, so he can see and like, okay, I see what's going on. Why ain't you making an adjustment? That it puts him in a super important position of power to make sure coaches and your GM handling players and play on the field is, you know what I'm saying, up to standard for fans and everything. Because Matt Ryan he know what it takes to win. He know what it takes to get Atlanta behind you. He know what it takes to get the city going. So he's really a perfect candidate to be in that football operation spot, honestly.
Franchise quarterback. It doesn't be great. It has to be really good and solid. So we felt that someone like Michael we could draft, bring along for a couple of years. At some point, Kirk might age out. Really hasn't. He played well. Again, the first half of last year, certainly, we were 6-3 and 2-game lead in our division. Before
flamed out.
His play changed, and Michael stepped up in the first part of this year. So we look forward to having Michael back. He's had good surgery. We spoke to the medical staff. It seems to have gone well. Kirk, we'll see what will happen with him going forward. But there were decisions about winning now over the next 2 to 3 years, and then bringing in a young quarterback and not putting the pressure on a rookie quarterback to have to perform at that level, but giving him an opportunity to learn under an experienced, seasoned veteran guy who has really been a great leader for us, I would say, over the last couple of years, both that he was playing in a support role to Michael last year, and then this year, support role to Michael and stepping up and playing at a very competitive level for us as well.
Now, okay. I'm gonna have to call a little BS on this, Mr. Blank. I understand you want to keep a good image and everything, but as you say, you just said not too long ago, my guy, that when the fans was upset and they was seeing things, you was doing the same. Hey, we see that Kirk Cousins was full of shit, bruh. And the fact that Michael Penix came out and said, bro, I ain't got nobody to lean on or talk to about football. Come on, man. I understand what he doing though. But yeah, we know Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is a piece of trash, bro. Kirk Cousins was out for himself. And he was a selfish a-hole. I'm trying to stop cussing. But yeah, man, no, Kirk Cousins was, yeah. But also, too, this shows you that they had a plan in place. It just blew up in their face. More so Terry Fontenot's face. It just blew up in his face because if all that stuff never happened, we wouldn't have seen Michael Penix until next year. Maybe even next year still. You see what I'm saying? So, me personally, I still believe Michael Penix is going to be probably the starting quarterback going forward eventually when he gets back healthy. But, you know, you never know. If Arthur Blank is allowed, I mean, who all come in here, if they going to change that up and everything, I'm pretty sure you're going to have to convince the football operations guy and Arthur Blank to change that part up because that's an investment already. Why give that investment up already? Like, okay, you understand he got hurt, but if you also understand that he was put in the position to kind of be hurt, if your offensive coordinator was to call plays to protect him instead of exposing him to unnecessary hits, danger, and stuff like that, he wouldn't been hurt. You know what I'm saying? So that's a whole nother video for a whole nother time about whether or not what we'll do at the quarterback position and what that situation entails. But from now on, we just gonna finish this out.
I will go Charles, Ladd, and then Bailey.
Since your interviews begin today for president of football, can you talk about what makes the ideal candidate? What are the qualifications, and are you open to considering someone who has no front office or executive experience?
I think the second part of your question has to do with Matt Ryan. My answer to the second part.
Hey, Mr. Blake funny. Mr. Blake funny. Yeah.
Question. Matt is somebody we've had a long relationship with.
The second part is related to Matt
Ryan.
Ryan.
The candidates we'll be interviewing. My response to that would be Matt Ryan. Came into the league as a.
I want to ask one question. I got a question. See, dude just said they ain't gonna be letting nobody know or letting them know when they do interviews. They just gonna do them and then they'll let us know. So Mr. Blank already going against that. But I guess maybe because that's already been circulating and it's been out for so long, maybe he don't care about that. But otherwise, going forward, general manager, or maybe they just talking about GM and head coach. Maybe they just talking about those.
Rookie in 2008, ended up leading a locker room of 53 for 14 years, leading in a huddle, being a great player, leading players, supporting coaches, etc. So his EQ and IQ when it comes to football is extraordinarily high. I've known Matt personally since 2008 and his family, and he's an outstanding individual, great community leader, and the kind of person you'd certainly would want to consider in that position. But we have other candidates that we're interviewing as well over the next couple of days, starting this afternoon, this evening, and going into tomorrow and tomorrow night.
Ed?
Yeah, Arthur. What did the consultants tell you about, the organization that led you to change the dynamics of the infrastructure? And, or is the hope that this will stop the streak of 8 losing seasons?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think they pointed out there were certain areas, without going into any detail, that from a support standpoint and building a roster and the quality of the analytics and some other areas that we could definitely improve upon. They felt areas of accountability and communication could be tightened up a little bit from what they have been. They spent a great deal of time. They interviewed close to 30 people, all one-on-one interviews with essentially everybody in the building, not with the coaching staff. With Raheem they did, and with Terry they did, but a lot of other folks they did. And they shared a very detailed report that was written with a lot of quality and drew certain conclusions, which I had a sensibility about myself before, but it was good to hear it confirmed as well. So that was all part of the process. But at the end of the day, the decisions were mine to make, and it was all part of the input that was important to me.
Basically, what it seems like that group came in and did and said, hey, man, this is not right. This ain't so right. That ain't right. Some days, it basically kind of exposed how much a little bit on stuttering. It basically kind of exposed how much information is kind of somewhat kept from Arthur Blank, because if he knows certain things, but he don't know the certain extent. When it's in this business, you got to know everything, every detail down to every extent of that detail. I need to know everything. Don't omit to me and only tell me half of the shit. And that's probably why Rich McKay also got himself up out of there, because he was probably the one who was really handling a lot of this stuff, while Arthur Blank was doing the check writing and everything like that. Rich McKay just handling a lot of this bull crap, and a lot of stuff fell through the cracks. And now Arthur Blank was like, man, like I said, to go back to my question, do you feel like Arthur Blank is now not trying to, you know what I'm saying? Or is he trying not to turn the Falcons into a cash cow anymore and trying to turn them into a winner? You know, is that the change in everything? Because for a minute, if you've been a Falcon fan for a while, a lot of this stuff has been going on for a long time. Then, if you think about it, with coaches and stuff like that, probably has been going on since Rich McKay has been a part of this organization. And Rich McKay has been a part of this organization before I was even a Falcons fan. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, it's probably the reason we probably missed out on a lot of players, probably coaches that probably would have been good for us. Probably just a lot of different things, because a lot of stuff was falling through the cracks due to probably Rich McKay. But also too, I have to point a finger at Arthur Blank for not looking over his business as tightly in his football, team as tightly as he should, and being a little too trusting. And ain't nothing wrong with trusting somebody to do their job and having trust in them as a friend and everything, but still double check your work. Always cross-reference everything. You know what I'm saying?
Bailey?
When you look at the head coach, I believe this will be.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Hi, Big Tigger.
Can you hear me now?
A little better, thank you.
When looking at the head coach position, I believe this will be the 7th position you'll hire for head coach. What do you feel like has been lacking there, and what is something you're hoping this round in the hire you can bring an edge to hopefully get this right?
Well,
identity. For the last 5 years, I want to kind of say this team has no identity. In a sense, like Arthur Smith, I want to say the run game was our identity, but it's like I feel like with Arthur Smith, our run game was our identity, but he started to fondle with that when the quarterback situation started to happen, and he started bumbling and fumbling with that. We lost our identity, and then when Raheem Morris came in, we just had no identity. We went back to just not having an identity at all.
I think. And we've gotten a lot of things right with a lot of coaches over the years. I mean, I look back at the period of Mike Smith and Dan Quinn, and that those years when we had no history of winning, we won consistently during that 12-year period of time. I think you learn something from every experience you go through, and try to fine-tune the model and try to refine it and make it clearer as to what your expectations are, make sure there's clear communications, the same vision, you're holding people accountable. Holding people accountable in a performance-based business, which is what the NFL is really important.
Hey man, let that be the word of the day: accountability, bruh. That's another thing. A lot of these players that has kind of come through Atlanta, mainly via free agency and stuff. Some of these guys do not be held accountable. Some of these dudes just be lacking on their jobs, doing their jobs, and just don't be holding each other account. Don't be holding themselves accountable, bro. Coaches as well, and I'm glad he said that. And he keeps saying performance based too. I like that he keeps saying that because I'm liking he's putting it out there, bro. You will no longer come here and give me bullshit. That is what I want to hear from my owner. You will no longer come here and give me bullshit. Everything is performance based and everything. All that, we being friendly and that, nah, forget all that.
You know, it's easy to say that. Sometimes it's hard to do that because you're in a foxhole every Sunday. There are bullets flying all over the place, some at you, some you're shooting. And so you develop this mentality of being together. So at times, I think that people, in my view, over 25 years in the NFL, there can be too much of a weight on loyalty and not enough of a weight on performance and holding people accountable in a more reasonable period of time. But, you know, you have to be patient, too, because you're dealing with system changes, you're dealing with new players, you're dealing with new orientations with players, moving them around. So change for the sake of change is very penal in the NFL. You want to be very thoughtful about it, not only on a personal level, but because it can impact the team in a negative way. You'll find those organizations that have achieved in the NFL at a relatively high level, one of the things they have consistently is continuity, not just with ownership, but continuity at a head coach and general manager level. We're adding a third component to it now with the president of football, which we think will add another level of quality, another level of emphasis and execution that we haven't had in the past.
We go to Allison, then over.
Meaning, all right, I got somebody to make sure you two mother lovers ain't messing up my team. I need stuff to get correct. If this player don't need to be on the field, get him off my field. If he don't need to be here, he needs to go. He don't need to be. Amen.
To Terrence, then to Torrey.
Arthur, I just wanted to clarify. So do you believe that Michael Penix Jr. is the franchise quarterback for the Falcons and is a prerequisite for this new head coach to also keep Jeff Ulbrich as the defensive coordinator with the way they finished?
Two answers, two questions. I do think Michael is our franchise quarterback. The injury he sustained was on his other knee. The surgeon felt 1,000% secure in the medical procedure they went through.
Some days you just need a mood
why
boost.
do y'all
But if
do
you're looking
that,
forward to
bro?
sugary snacks,
Like,
you
man,
might end up dealing with
fluff
headache.
about this, and then why would y'all put a damn commercial in the middle of the video? Stop the video and put the commercial, bro. Don't do that shit no more. YouTube, y'all acting retarded.
Successful rehab program. He's back in Atlanta. He's committed mentally, physically. He feels good. So, yes, I would certainly see that. As it relates to Jeff Ulbrich, in my view, he did a really fine job for us this year. Certainly look at the record of sacks and just the overall performance of the defense was definitely better than it's been in the past. And you can't dictate to a new head coach, who their coaches are going to be. But I certainly would recommend to a new head coach that they consider Jeff based on his track record, not only here, but his track record before with us in Atlanta. They went to New York, and his experience there for certainly a couple of years was at the very top of the league, too. So, I would certainly recommend somebody consider him. But it's not something we can require or mandate. The right head coach is going to want to put together their own staff. And they'll be working closely in this case. It's not the president of football won't do the head coach's job, but it'll have a working partner who has great football knowledge in that position that they can help build the staff with.
Terrence, Torrey, and Josh Kendall.
So basically, he just not letting the
20 years you and I have been talking. You've always been highly customer focused.
Yep.
So given all the no-shows the last 2 or 3 years, how much did that factor into your decisions, as far as the organization is concerned? And the second question would be, Raheem has mentioned a couple of times that when it came to the quarterback situations, that it was an organizational decision. So how much were you and Rich involved in that as opposed to just Terry himself?
The answer to the first part of the question,
But let me go ahead and get down to that one last part. Seeing that, okay, well, we got the part of Michael Penix. Now the Jeff Ulrich part, I like what he said because that's how I would be. I would recommend, especially to like say a first time head coach, I would definitely recommend, hey, this guy, he brings this type of defense. Hey, he can get you the ball back. He can do these things. I would definitely do that. But a veteran head coach, I would suggest it, just like he said, suggest that. But most of the time, if we're going after like a veteran style head coach, he's going to already know who he wants in these positions. So that's neither here nor there. So we all, as Falcons fans, have to be prepared to lose Jeff Ulbrich too.
when you have no-shows, that's not a problem. It's an indication of a problem. So it's like, there's a fire caused someplace, or what caused the fire? So that's the reason for the changes, is the cause of the fire, not the fire itself. But we definitely, we're here for our fans. I tell our players, whenever it's appropriate time, I just remind them, without fans, either watching them in person or watching them on TV, we have 22 guys playing sandlot football. And so they understand that. And so, and the fans give us more than the resources. They give us their time, their energy, their passion, their commitment, their family time. They give us a lot of things. So we owe it to them.
I got to stop it. The way Arthur Blank is talking is like, bro, he's ready to win a championship. This year, it seems like, this year. This coming up next season, bro, I really feel like, hey, we're going to have somebody in here that's going to really make a change and have us going in the direction of finally getting back to a Super Bowl and actually winning it.
To step up and make the right decisions.
He keep mentioning the
fans
unpromptly. He's mentioning in the fans, saying like, "Bro, I see their frustration. I see what's going on. I see what's happening. I hear it." Now, that don't mean ultimately he just super cares about what we think and what we feel and what we say and stuff like that. But he noticed it and he pays attention to it.
Yeah, when you're making decisions. And I would say this is true for every owner in the National Football League. I know them all for a long period of time. When you're making significant decisions like the Kirk Cousins contract or probably who you're drafting in the first round, those kind of things, it becomes an organizational decision. I've been part of certain situations where that was not the case, and the result of that is never healthy. It's never healthy for the organization. So you want the organization to see the same vision, to buy into it, to support it, to all be in lockstep on those kinds of things. It doesn't mean you agree on everything. It means you have healthy debate before you make the decisions. But once you make them, you move forward together in support of those decisions.
So it wasn't totally Terry?
No, we would never have a situation in my 25 years, so I don't think it'd be healthy any place in the NFL or any organization for one person to be making a decision that's going to affect everybody in a variety of ways at a fairly deep level without input and guidance and shared wisdom from other people. At the end of the day,
I like that because it's like, dang, that does affect everybody. Like drafting a quarterback and paying a quarterback, that does affect everybody because guess what? If none of that crap works, everybody gets fired. It's a chance that everybody can get fired. It's a chance that everybody can lose their job from that quarterback or the draftee. And then it sets your franchise back some years because now y'all trying to play catch up to other franchises because they already have their quarterback installed and he's going and he's on the road. Now you're trying to play catch up to get yours going like that or your team like that. So
somebody has to make that final call, and I understand that, but it's not normally going to be one person.
Tori, Josh, and then Gabe.
Kind of to that end, when it comes to the president of football role, I know we kind of talked around it a little bit, but what led to the decision to add that to the organizational structure? And what are attributes within
Damn, that
an
mic beat
individual
up.
that could lead to success within that role?
I think one of the reasons we felt it was necessary is that, I'm not involved on a day-to-day basis in our.
Sorry, I had to yawn. Short answer, I had to get Rich McKay ass up out of here. Honestly, that's what that was. I had to get Rich McKay ass up out of here because he was fucking up too much. Sorry for cursing.
Football business. I'm involved, but not on a day-to-day basis, and shouldn't be. Because I have authority doesn't mean I have the knowledge. So we can never confuse the two. And if you get a leader who's in that position, they get confused, they can really make some bad decisions. So I've never been confused about that. So we wanted somebody else to have input and guidance and hold the accountability and work closely with the head coach and general manager to build their capacities as a coaching staff and building a roster, making sure it's consistently held within the vision that we have for the team, how we want to play ball on the offensive side of the team, on the special team side, on the defensive side of the ball. So that's the biggest role that person will play. And if we bring in the right person, it'll make a big difference in my view.
So basically what he's saying is I'm putting somebody in place that I know I can trust that can tell me what I don't know and what I need to know. Because Rich McKay don't know nothing about no goddamn football. He's a businessman. He know how to generate money. He know how to generate funds, add attractions and shit like that. He don't know nothing about football really like that, bruh. And that's probably why our team has been down the dumpster so much here lately. Because he really don't know what he doing. He just know how to generate excitement pretty much. This guy coming into football operations is a guy who knows football and who's going to be able to do what it really needs to.
Obviously, you still got to hire the great head coach, the great general manager, and the president of football will not be doing their jobs for them at all, but will be holding them accountable and giving input, wisdom, and guidance where necessary.
Josh?
To make sure I'm clear,
Yeah.
the quarterback, the fact that the Kirk Cousins, Michael Penix sort of dual additions didn't work out or haven't worked out the way you'd hoped through the first 2 years, was that part of the factor in firing Raheem and Terry?
No.
Some tools shout.
Bro, why do y'all do that? Like
silence. But this year,
Space business. I mean, I'm disappointed the way we ended this last year. I mean, this the year before this current year.
come on, man.
But, we
What's the name that went off?
not performing
Name
well
that
at
went
the end of the
off. Okay, there
year.
you
We were
go.
in a strong position. This year, there's a lot of peaks and valleys, too many peaks and valleys, too many levels that were not consistent throughout our play. So it's a combination of things over a period of time. But
Basically for Raheem had to go because his ass couldn't coach and get us into the playoffs, and you went on an embarrassing month-long losing streak both years that you was here, so you can get up out of here. Mediocrity. I tried to give you a chance, buddy. Terry Fontenot, I'm sorry, but bruh, you ain't, as a GM, you ain't produced a winning season in the 5 years you've been here. Now, you have made great players and some great decisions, but it still hasn't resulted in the things that we've wanted. That's basically what that is.
nothing to do with the decisions that we collaboratively made about Kirk Cousins or about Michael Penix.
And to make sure I'm clear, the new president of football will be the final say
Yes.
on draft picks, on roster construction,
Well,
on...
I gave you a quick answer, yes. You don't want, you're not going to find a head coach at the level we want to seek or a general manager at the level we want to seek that are going to cede their job to a president of football. And you're not going to find a president of football who is really a balanced leader and a thoughtful leader who wants to do the job of other people working for them. That never works in any organization, in any industry. So the general manager will do his job, the head coach will do their job. They both will be accountable to the president of football, So there'll be dialogue, exchanges, ideas, et cetera, but at the end of the day, you want the head coach and general manager to have the final say in their areas of responsibility with the input and guidance from the president of football.
Basically, the president of football operations is there to make sure you ain't fucking up. If y'all two come up with some dumbass ideas, I'ma correct them and I'ma let you know, no, we not going with it.
And finally, forgive me, given, your track record with Rich McKay, was it a difficult decision for you to sort of fully remove him from the Falcons' decision-making process?
Well, I mean, Rich has a long storied history in the NFL, goes
fucking
back
up.
over 30 years, but with us, over 20 years, and we won a lot of games when he was our general manager. He was part of that whole transition. He's moved on to a whole bunch of other really important things for us. He's CEO of AMBSC. So what does that mean? It means that he's involved in the World Cup. He's involved in soccer, both Atlanta United and the new NWSL team. He'll be involved in a lot of community things. He chairs the Metro Chamber this coming year. I've done that once in my life in 2001, and that by itself is almost a full-time job. It's breakfast, lunch, dinners virtually every day, community meetings, leadership, things of that nature. So he's got a very full plate, and he will continue to serve as co-chair of the competition committee for the National Football League. So, and complete support of our Commissioner, Roger Goodell, in that regard.
Go to Gabe, and then we'll wrap up with Carl and Chris.
There are now 8 head coach openings.
Say again?
There are now 8 head coach openings, and some of these candidates are going to have options. What do you feel separates this team in this situation from the other vacancies?
I think it's a really good question.
Location, roster, vision. One, Georgia is a great location to live and be. City, place, actors, movie, anything. Just that off rip. Roster. For one, you're not coming.
Here's what I found.
Bro, nobody's asking you. Shut your ass up. The roster. You're not coming in here with a bare cupboard. Or not only that, we reconstructed Kirk Cousins' deal to free up money. So you're not coming into a bare cupboard roster. And you're not coming into a situation with no money. And then not only that, to put the icing on the cake, look at the division you're going to be playing in. The 3 quarterbacks you're going to have to see: Bryce Young, Baker Mayfield, and Tyler Shaw. Like those 3 things right there are why the Falcons head coaching job is so much. It really should be at the top of the list of everybody's head coaching open vacancy. It should be at the top. I feel like that's the most attractive job due to everywhere else. That's just me though.
Question. I think what separates us, and somebody will have to make a decision on their own judgment about the quality of the ownership, et cetera. But that is always a factor, right? I would say that generically, not because I'm sitting here, but.
And I'm gonna say the owner too, because Arthur Blank is a great owner. He's a great owner.
President of football versions of that, and there are a number of those around the NFL that exist in 3 or 4 or 5 other teams now. They want to know they have stability at ownership. They want to make sure the ownership is committed financially, emotionally, culturally, and provide the support that's necessary for them to be successful. I'm sorry, the second part of the question, I apologize.
Oh, just how do you feel with your situation?
Okay, yeah, so, and I look at our roster, and I look at the young players we have on both offense and defense. We had a really great draft class, in my opinion, this last year. We've had some other players carried over from a couple of years before that. So I like both sides of our roster. I like some of the seasoned vets we have as well. I love our stadium, voted #1 in the United States again for fan experience, and that's not unimportant. It's important to the players to have fans show up. Goes back to Terrence's question earlier. Players hear the fans, they see the fans, they want the seats filled. There's a lot of things that determine that. One is a competitive product on the field, but also the experience they have within the building itself. So I think all of those things, Atlanta is a great city, great market, and I think all those things are factors in somebody making a professional as well as a personal decision. Because you're talking to coaches and general managers, in many cases, if not all cases, they have families, and so they're making decisions not only for themselves, but for their wives or their wives' partners to help them make that decision, along with their kids and whatever. There's a lot of factors, but Atlanta's a great market, too. Sorry.
Arthur, what do you say to the fans who are very frustrated? Obviously, you heard, I'm sure you've heard from them. You've just talked about your frustration. What do you say to the Falcon fans who are struggling with the idea that we can't seem to get this part of it right as far as the coach, general manager, et cetera? What's your message to them?
Well, I think you go back and look at our history since when we acquired the franchise in 2001. We've had
Okay,
great
so he
14-year
so
run.
yeah, so he had
two head coaches. We've won a bunch of games.
so
The
he
last
bought
8
them in
seasons
2001.
clearly have been very disappointing. The losing seasons and not getting the playoffs both. You have a team this year that has a losing season and is in the playoffs. So we don't want to be in either one of those categories. We don't want to lose and get in the playoffs. We want to win and be in the playoffs.
Like a relentless weed.
Bro, why
moderate
do
to
y'all
severe
do
ulcerative
that?
colitis symptoms can
Like, that should not be a
Resources, our
part
financial
of.
resources, any bit of intellect or wisdom we can bring from the outside, inside, to make sure we understand more clearly what is it we could do better, what is it we can set in terms of setting the expectations for a new head coach, general manager, where does a president of football, which is a position we've never had in the history of the Falcons, filled now, what that person is bringing to the table in terms of holding people accountable, making sure we maintain a vision. It's very difficult in this business or any sports business when you have too many changes. Changes become excessive. The hardest people it's on is the players. New systems, new language, new positions sometimes. So consistency at the top is very, very important, but the quality of the consistency is really important. So in my judgment, changes we've had to make in the past have always been with a 3-year tenure. In my opinion, in this case, after 2 years, I knew that we had to make the changes. So this wasn't a time lapse kind of situation. It was a performance lapse situation. In my judgment, I felt after 2 years, with him and his team, and Terry after 5 years, I felt I've seen enough to know that we could do better than this in my view.
All right, we'll wrap.
God damn it, Mr. Blank. God dang it, Mr. Blank. That's what we talking about right there. And I'm gonna take it a step further. He probably really want to say, shit, I never really wanted to hire. I never really wanted to hire Raheem Morris. That was a Rich McKay thing. I knew I was gonna get rid of his ass last year, so I let him make one little last decision to see if he was gonna do right, and he didn't.
With Chris Domino.
Arthur, good morning. If it was a wellness check, that's Sportology.
I'm sorry, what?
If we're going to call it a wellness check, perhaps that's what Sportology did. It was a wellness check on the organization. What were one or two, maybe the most surprising things that you read about the organization, and how big a point of emphasis did they say there might be a murkiness when it comes to the hierarchy of power? President of football, let's do that, and then perhaps even with Rich, emphasizing once again that Atlanta Falcon football decisions are going to be made by people other than Rich going forward.
Yeah, well, I mean, let me just clear that up again for the third time. I mean, Rich was not the focus of the report, it's very clear. If I showed you his calendar and his schedule, I mean, he doesn't have time for anything else. So we've asked him to move away from his time with football, which was very limited over the last number of years. It was there, but very limited, to focus on all these other things that we're involved in. I think the big things coming.
It's okay, Mr. Blank. You ain't got to go off on him. We gonna do it for you. But yeah, Rich McKay was messing up, bruh. And the more and more I kept dealing in his power, he was finding other ways to mess up. So with that being said, we just removed him. They pointed out all the ins and outs of where he was messing up at. and they showed me that. So that's what that was. Mr. Blank, it's okay.
Out of the report, I said this earlier, was that, we have to have a consistent vision that everybody in the organization understands in terms of how we want to play the game consistently.
So that means Raheem
You go around
Morris
the NFL,
and
there's
Terry
certain
didn't
teams,
really
I
have
won't name which
a
ones, but you all
consistent
probably can
plan
in your own
in
minds,
place, and
that if
they
you
didn't know
say, if you
how to
project 5
proceed
years
forward.
from today, how do you
If
think
you
that
seeing
team will be
that.
playing? What the points of emphasis will be in that team? You probably could pretty well predict, the kind of ball they'll be playing. It might be changed a little bit, refined a little bit, but essentially, we need to have a clearer vision on offense, defense, and teams, how we're going to play, and then have a coaching staff that understands that clearly, have a GM that understands clearly how do you build players, bring them into the roster that match that system and that philosophy, and hold people accountable for their results and their decision-making and their performance. It is a performance-based business. It's a high-risk, high-reward kind of nature. That is the industry that we're in, and that's what we've chosen to be in, and we love the opportunity to do that. We have to make sure we represent all those values correctly and represent our fans the way they would expect us to. Not impulsively,
Sure.
but thoughtfully. But once decisions are made, you don't measure 3 years, 2 years, 1 year. When you see the facts come to you and you draw a conclusion and make a conclusion based on solid information, you make that decision as soon as you can. Hence, after 2 years, we've decided to move on from Raheem and staff and Terry and his group.
Can I just go back? Was there anything surprising in their report of findings that?
I would say that one of the things that
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Blake. Hey. You can tell they was. Hey, Mr. Blake wanted to go off, boy. Mr. Blake had to keep that black man within him. Hey, you goddamn right on some shit that I see that wasn't right. What you think? Why you think I didn't fire too much? I'm looking to fire your ass if I could. Boy, you lucky you're a reporter. Yeah. It was some shit that it was some stuff that surprised me, boy. Yeah.
Probably, was a little bit surprising was the lack of clarity on, about the vision for the team. And that's, that's in any business, in any industry,
He
you don't have
just tried,
clarity around
really,
vision.
what
You're
Mr. Blank
trying
just
to
tried to do right
establish
there. He
and-
tried to
and
find
trying
the
to
most
build.
less.
You could end up with a lot of disparate parts.
He was trying to find the most less damaging thing to say about the team or about his organization that he could. That's what he just did right there. Because something surprised when he stuttered, it was a few things that probably went into his mind that was like, yeah, nah, this.
By moving in different
But
directions. And
this
that
was
means
probably
you're
the
not
most
only
safest answer he
unsuccessful,
could have
partially
gave.
unsuccessful, but you can be very inefficient. As laser focused as you can be in terms of exactly what you want to do, you're going to make better selections of players, coaches, coaching staff, hold that kind of consistency in place. And then, you modify over time depending on what's happening in the game. The game is changing. The NFL has definitely moved to a more, focus on offense and defense over the years. But, you got to, particularly when it comes to the playoffs, teams that have really great defenses do well.
All right. We thank you all for being here. We've got to get Arthur off to interviews and meetings. Thank you.
Thank
and
you
we'll
all. I
keep you
appreciate it.
posted.
Again, final word to the fans. Thank you for your patience, your support, your own wisdom collectively and individually. And we promise you that we're 100% committed to bringing us back to the level that you would expect us to be at. So we appreciate that.
Thank you all.
And boom, there y'all have it, man. There y'all have it, bruh. And I definitely, honestly, I heard a lot of things that I liked. It wasn't too much I didn't like. He addressed everything head on. The quarterback situation, the general manager, what went into the decision on letting them go, and he kept it straight, man. Performance based, but they was not performing at the level that we were supposed to perform. On the field, even off the field, like he didn't probably get all the way off into it, but you can imagine, like, shit, a lot of players was hurt that we didn't know was hurt. Some guys were out all season, like Troy Anderson, bruh. Troy Anderson held a roster spot for down there all year before they let us know he was out for the season. Like, bro, what? It was just a lot of other things, and yeah, I'm glad Arthur Blank made these decisions and they came to this conclusion. So now, man, it's onward to hiring our operations of football and head coach and GM. So, hey, man, let me know in the comment section what y'all think. Make sure y'all hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share it to your friends and family. Turn your notifications on so you know when I post new content. And until next time, stay blessed, stay fresh. Shalom.